Hey guys, my name is Lilly and today I want to start a new series. And this is going to be one of the ingredients in my primitive pine pitch. So I'm going to take off some of this charcoal here, which is bone dry by the way. So it had some time to dry out. And I don't know where this chunk of wood came from, but apparently somebody made a fire here and this is the leftover charcoal from a fire, and that's exactly what I need for my project today. I just found a little bit of this deer poo, and as you can see it's full with fibers, and that's a great addition to my glue. So if you find this, you can add it to your glue and it will not only make the glue harder but also a little bit more robust, and it will be less prone to breaking. Next I want to grind down my little charcoal here into a fine powder. The charcoal that I'm grinding down right now is making the glue harder, because if you only have pine resin on its own, it will be very, how should I say, weak and also soft, and it might also start to run in hot weather. So the hotter the temperature is, the softer the pine resin will get when it's by itself, and this is why you want to mix it with other materials like this charcoal here or deer poo. And yeah, now I try to grind this charcoal into a very fine powder. You won't believe it, but 2 deer came by. They ran by me and they were only like 12 meters away. So really close, and yeah, sometimes you have very close animal encounters. Unfortunately, I was too slow to turn around the camera and then they were gone. Next I want to break down the fibers of the deer poo. Now this one is still a little bit moist, which is not good, so it would be much better if it was drier, but it's going to be fine, so it's not soaking wet. Okay, now I want to build a very small makeshift oven. It has to be a small platform. Alright, so now I'm placing the third ingredient on the stone, and with the heat of the fire the resin is going to melt and drop on the next stone, which I have prepared right here. Okay, now we have to wait until the stone here heats up, and I have placed it onto the other stones with a little bit of an inclination towards us. And then the resin will drop down to the second stone, and here we will make our Stone Age glue. Okay, so here we go. We have our primitive pine pitch glue, and as you just saw, I tried to melt this and mix it together as good as I could. This time I had no container, so here and there you can still see the pure pine resin, which is not good, of course, but the rest is mixed very well, and it should make a very good primitive glue. Okay, the fire is about to die down, and we got a really nice amount of glue. And yeah, next time I will try to find a bigger stone like this one, which would be easier, because here there was a lot of resin running back into the fire, which was not good, so I lost some of the resin. But still, we have gotten a really nice amount of pine pitch glue, and this glue I'm going to use in future projects. Alright guys, so this is how you can make some primitive pine pitch glue with no container whatsoever. So of course it would be easier to use a container and to boil the resin inside of a tin can, for example, and that way you would have a great way to mix everything together. You won't lose any of the pine resin, so that's the ideal way, of course. But today I wanted to try it the most primitive way. If you don't have any container, you can still, you know, heat up the resin until it melts on a stone, which then will drop down to the next stone, and that's where you can mix your pine resin just like a caveman, right? And this has now cooled down quite a lot, and it's becoming very hard. So it's really important that this becomes hard, and it shouldn't be too hard, because then the glue becomes too brittle, but also it should not be too soft, because then the glue will not work very well. So then your fletching will come off the arrows, or your tip will come off the shaft. And by the way, you can also use this glue to fix holes in bolts or to seal containers. You can even use this as it is right now as a torch, as a survival torch, but for that it would be, you know, a little bit too precious. So there are many things that you want to glue in a survival situation. So before I would use this as a torch, I would build myself another survival torch, a handheld survival torch that you could carry around. Okay guys, so this is it for the day. I'm just quickly extinguishing the fire. So one way how you can extinguish a fire is to suffocate it by putting some dirt onto it, and in this case it's moist sand. And then you just pat on the fire pit and you wait a little bit, and if there's still smoke coming through a crack, then you have to pack more dirt onto it. But you can see that now there's no smoke coming anymore, and this is how you can put out a fire without water. Of course, if you have water, you can always use water to put out the fireplace, but this way it's also possible. Okay, so this was the first episode of my new series, which is about basic wilderness survival, and this is what we made in the first episode. And I'm planning many more episodes, so if you want to see that, make sure that you're subscribing to my channel. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned till next time.